Hi, I'm Chris from airwindows, and the plugin I'm giving you today is called NonlinearSpace, and it's the most recent of a series of reverb attempts that I've made. I'm not Sean Costello of Valhalla with his very famous and well thought of reverbs. I'm not Kesey Bricasti, but I do think up stuff, and I do have a reverb for you that's evolved through a series of other things. It's not like anybody else's, so it has its own sound, and it might even sound good. And it's a little bit like this. Or at least that's one way of having it. Because as you can see, there's the sample rate setting. And you can set it up to do things. And indeed it does things. $16K is a very small buffer, and we can make it a little larger. This is just different sizes of buffers. They're all available at all times, but the idea is that you can set things up like this. It's kind of designed to have a sort of lexicon-y like behavior around the bass and treble. You can roll them off in these ways. $96K, as you can see, is the largest and sustainiest of these. If you expect it to sound realistic, you might want to roll the treble back because it's set up so that... Whoop, sorry about that. Wow. Don't mind me. Just fooling around with some silliness here. Let's go back to the drums. That was a little scary. So this is the livest. Tell you what, I'm going to fire up bit shift gain and bring it in here. And I'm going to put a clip only, which also is free. If you follow me, you know that you can have these and they're just fine. And with this, I can clip the crap out of this. And it's not hurting your ears because this bit shift gain is after the span. But with this here, to keep us safe, we can experiment with things like liveness. Yes, it has feedback. That means you can do strange, silly things with it. I haven't even touched Nonlin yet. And that's at the huge setting of 96K. So if you were running at 96K, this would be the equivalent to what this would sound like. The buffers don't continue to expand outwards at high sample rates, otherwise if you mistakenly set it to like 192, everything falls over and dies. Instead, it's just a way of approaching this kind of thing. We can do the same crazy feedback thing at 16K. So yeah, we've got the filters do radical things. We've got the liveness can be made to feed back. All very cool. What's this nonlin fader about? I'll show you. Notice how it's acting like I turned liveness up. In fact, if you have liveness like this, you maybe want to be careful, because it'll get out of hand kind of easily. It provides a nonlinear effect on the way that the thing feeds back. So, if you have it turned up like this, it'll sound kind of like this huge wash of verb. Here, I'll turn it up a little bit. And of course, this is all wet. The dry is like this. We'll just turn it back all wet again to play with. And let's say put it to 16K. Now, I wasn't actually expecting that, but it's kind of cool. A little too much highs. Pretty freaky. You can get very strange noises this way. And of course, if you're not being too silly, you can have more of a traditional non-lin type effect where as you can tell, what nonlin does is when sound is happening, the sound tries to happen more. But when it gets quiet, it shuts up more. It's a nonlinear response. Now that does mean that it's sensitive to loud noises. You might want to clip it or something. Like one corner clip would work very well for that, because it would let lows through. But this is the classic sort of 80s effect of being able to make stuff sustain a lot. Let's try it with a longer. Let's go back to this bit. It'll be even more effective if you use it on individual tracks that have space between them. You know, like just a snare track or something. Now you'll notice that nonlin goes to a negative setting as well. You might wonder what the point of that is. Well, as you can tell, it took away all the liveness, because adding nonlin adds liveness. If we put it back, that now gives us an interesting behavior. We have an infinite sustain reverb. There you go. It kind of keeps going. And it's easy to break into the reverb and replace it with other stuff, but when things get quiet, like here, the negative nonlinearity just keeps it hanging right on. And of course you can use it with a big giant space, like this. So here's my little audio recording, and I'm going to be sometimes get attacked by monsters, and so they're going to clip. Their recordings are going to clip. They'll clip very much. And you've got to be ready to deal with the noises that they make. So basically that's the idea with voice clip. Thank you very much, and goodbye. I think that about explains it. Nonlinear space. Hope you have fun with it. Oh, and that is it's supported by Patreon. I do run a Patreon. That's how I get to keep doing this sort of thing year after year and get good at it. And this is Audio Unit Mac, PC, and Linux VST. Again, I hope you like it. Oh, and you know something? I think I may be able to show you something amusing here. Oh. Thought I didn't have knobs. If you hit this button, the feature list plugins have knobs. I'm not sure what this EQ business is for. Oh, yeah, I do not want to have an EQ in there. Although I think I may have just added one. Let's make it go away again. But it allows you to pretend that you're turning knobs like this, kind of as if you were using a Blue Cat audio thing. And it seems to focus on whatever you got. I guess, yeah, since this is the only track selected, this is the one that you see, and it's going to just spread them out like this. For instance, if I was to add airwindows, let's see, what would be good? Something with settings. Electro Hat. Was talking about that recently. So it should be able to, maybe it's only the one on the top. We'll find out. Don't mind me, occasionally I just get experimental this way. Let's make nonlinear space go away and see if it gave us Electro Hat. So I don't know quite how this works, but it does let you play with knobs, if playing with knobs is what you want to do. It'll show the controls, and then if you have settings, it'll even show the settings like this, which is much like the VST plugins do. And then we've got one more here, and I can be silly and have fun and see what happens when I break it. Such as suddenly hitting it with C-strip. Boop. And it runs out of knobs. Aha, I showed it. You can still control the knobs, but oh, also there's something else that Apple should be doing, because some people know how to do it. Blue Cat Audio knows how to do this. If you have a knob that has logarithmic controls, like see it's 30 here, and then it's 200 here, and then it's 1600 here, the knob is supposed to also show the controls logarithmically. The sliders will do that. This is a good way to tell whether the vendor that's producing your knobs and things is doing it properly. As you can see in the generic interface and in Blue Cat's interface, which I think I might even, well, trust me, Blue Cat does this right, but the knob is supposed to sit in the middle if it's at 200 hertz. And on this knob interface, it's not actually going to do that. It's only going to do a linear taper, and it's supposed to be a log taper. But anyway, yeah, what was I? Nonlinear space. So, I hope you enjoyed nonlinear space, and don't mind me when I'm playing with the controls. Playing with the controls is always kind of fun. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.